Hey folks, it's week 9 of lockdown and I was assigned to a client to do a remote test, but at the last minute it got cancelled, leaving me in limbo, or even worse, white space. So I've decided to use this time to brush up on some skills, as for the last few months I've been doing VAs only and feel that I am getting de-skilled somewhat. So it's important to try and keep busy and keep one oar in the water, so to speak. So in this video, I will be taking a small refresher and exploiting a vulnerable machine for some much needed practice. So, let's begin. Before I begin, I wanted to run through my virtual vulnerable lab setup that I use at home. Some people like to use Hack the Box and things like that, but I don't mind just using things that I have lying around the house. This is a Dell Precision T7500 workstation with one hex-core Xeon processor and approximately 48GB of RAM. It is connected to this wireless router on the right, which is not connected to my home environment at all. This way I keep vulnerable machines off my home network. The Dell is old hat now, but I was able to pick this bad boy up from eBay for about 250 quid, which I feel was a worthwhile investment. And here are the vulnerable VMs I have running on here. Nearly all of these VMs have been downloaded from VulnHub, but a small handful have been some of my creations. The plan was to build out a fully functioning domain with users and data flying all over the place, but I just never got around to it, to be honest. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? So just before we begin, let's have a look at the 5 stages of a pen test. Right, enough of that shit, let's move on. So in any pen test, you want to make sure you identify your targets. There are a couple of ways of doing this, but at home I use AppScan from the local interface. Let's see what comes up. As all of my targets are based on VMware, we can exclude the TP-Link and Dell-Link host straight away. This leaves 2, and I know one of those is Gaia, so that leaves 192.168.110 as the target. So let's start an Nmap scan and see what comes up. When doing an Nmap scan, people will have their own preference, but for this one, I'm selecting a SYN scan with all flags, very verbose on all ports and quite aggressive. I am also outputting the results to all formats. Now let's sit back and see the results. So we can see we have an admin interface on port 22, which is SSH, a web interface on port 80 using plaintext, excellent, and an SMB service running on port 445. So from the bottom up, Let's see if we can get any more information from the SMB service.
In 22 hours, the Hartford Summit meeting will be over. China and the Soviet Union will go back home. Now, the president was on his way to this summit when his plane went down. He has a briefcase attached to his wrist. The tape recording inside has to reach Hartford in 22 hours.
What's on it?
You know anything about nuclear fusion?
Well, that's not good. It looks like the Nmap script is not working. But let's try and see if Metasploit comes up with anything. Let's see the options here. So we set our hosts to 192.168.110 and let's set the threads to 10 and run. Awesome. Metasploit has found some usernames on the target. A tip for those doing Crest: make sure you know at least 2 ways to perform checks or scans. Do not always rely on a one method. If you do and it doesn't work in the exam, it could be game over for you. So after saving the usernames into a separate file, it's time to check what else we can find from scanning the SMB. Let's see if we can enumerate any shares. So, no shares found. That's odd. Let's try again with enum for Linux. So anonymous access is not permitted by the looks of things. One last try for the share enumeration, and it looks like we can't find any shares. Well, time to move on. Let's have another look at that Nmap scan. So we have a web service running. Let's check it out. Not much to go on, just a username and password logon. Let's have a closer look. Let's see if the logon is vulnerable to a bit of SQL injection. Okay, so the username field is not vulnerable, but the password field is. Let's have another look at the username list we created from the SMB enumeration. Okay, let's try each name in turn with a generic password and see what happens. it's the same thing each time. Wrong username and password, so the error is not telling me if the username exists or if the password is incorrect or not. Let's try a proper sounding username. Robert will do, and then let's try some sequel foo and see if we can get somewhere else. Bingo! So what's happened here then? The SQL statement is valid and will return all rows from the users table since OR A equals A is always true. Let's try all the accounts now. I cannot be arsed trying each one in turn. So let's speed the process up a little by using Burp Suite and see what we see. After setting up the proxy and intercepting a request, we need to do a little config setup now. Let's send this request to intruder, change the attack type from sniper to cluster bomb and clear all the positions. Set position 1 as username and set position 2 as password. Load the username list from position 1. Set the SQL injection in position 2. Start attack and wait. If I check the response, I can see a login success PHP in the location field. So now I know all the accounts are valid and that the SQL injection will work. Yay! So let's give this another try with the John and Robert accounts. Excellent. Now we have creds. Let's have another look at that Nmap scan then. and there is an admin interface to log on to. Well, let's go for it. Brilliant! Now, oh shit. It appears as if this is some kind of limited shell. The restricted shell is a Unix shell that restricts some of the capabilities available to an interactive user session, or to a shell script running within it. It is intended to provide an additional layer of security. I don't have a whole lot to work with here, but I do remember an old one-liner command that can get me out of this limited shell and into a full shell. Let's give that a go. Boom! But I'm only a low level user. Need to have a snoop around for a way to elevate privileges. Let's have a look at the running services. There's not much there. Let's try that again, but this time with some gusto. Interesting. I can see a MySQL service running, and it looks like it is running as root. Let's have a look at that web directory. Whoa, shit. Left my right hand on the return key there. So there's a few files there. Let's have a closer look at the check login file. Ah, very interesting. A log on of root with a blank password. It's almost too tempting for words. Let's log on to MySQL using root with no password. Success! Now this is good news, as SQL can interact with the underlying operating system to execute commands. So if I can use SQL to modify the account of John to that of an admin, it may just give me root access on this box. No time to waste then. Woohoo! Yes! Now I am the boss.